Good day, folks, and welcome back to Ed's Garage at Bannister Hyundai. Today, a very special video. I get to put up the 2024 Volkswagen Tiguan Highline R-Line Edition up against the 2024 Hyundai Tucson Ultimate. Now, this is the Ultimate plug-in hybrid. This is just a regular gasoline vehicle. They don't make a hybrid in the Tiguan, at least not in Canada. That is technically less expensive when you factor in the $5,000 government rebate. However, the regular hybrid ends up being cheaper than this regardless of having no rebate. So any way you slice it, the top trim Tucson is a little bit lower priced than the Volkswagen. Now, they are pretty close though. We're not talking thousands of dollars here. Well, maybe $1,000. But the Volkswagen is a little bit more expensive. Keep that in mind during this comparison test. Now, before I get too far into this, it seems like every time I do a comparison, you guys note that I work at Hyundai, so I must be biased. Well, I also run a YouTube channel, so I'm trying my best not to be biased. I'll tell you right now, the Tucson does win over the Volkswagen, but I'm going to explain why. And if you think I'm being biased, please check my facts and try to argue your point. But yeah, don't deny the facts. Anyway. What we're going to do is we're going to start on the outside of the vehicle. We're going to work around the vehicle and go inside the vehicle and go over all the features and everything in both and how they compare. But before we do that, let's go over a couple of facts. So this is a 4-cylinder. It makes 184 horsepower. It's mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission. This, if we're going to assume that this is the hybrid, the regular hybrid, the cheaper version of this vehicle. Okay, all the features are going to be exactly the same. This particular one has a little bit more power than the regular hybrid, and of course there's an extra port on the side for charging. But other than that, the regular hybrid is going to be exactly the same. So if this were the regular hybrid, it's also a 4-cylinder. It's mated to a 6-speed automatic transmission, but makes 228 horsepower. So both more horsepower and more torque, and a quicker 0 to 60 or 0 to 100 than the Volkswagen. On top of that, we do have more space in the Tucson as well. There's better legroom front, better legroom rear, more cargo space, more headroom front and rear, and definitely more width. So there's a lot more space in the rear seat, which you'll note as soon as we open up all the doors and we have a look inside. Now, looking at the fronts of both vehicles, a couple things to point out. They're both completely equipped with all the safety features. It's pretty cool. The Volkswagen does have automatic self-parking, which is kind of nice. The Tucson does not have that, so there's a point for the Volkswagen Tiguan. Now, I've got them both running, and I've turned on all their headlights because I wanted you to see this. So they have projection headlights and high beams and LED daytime running lights. Don't mind the flicker. They're not actually doing that in real life. Both vehicles, of course, do have the projection headlights and high beams, so all of that's the same as far as capabilities. Now, the daytime running lights on the Tucson, they're kind of unique. They start up here and kind of make their way down. You can sort of see the lines moving up. Again, LEDs just do that on camera, just ignore that. But yeah, there's actually dual projection headlights and dual projection high beams. So the reason that's important is because it can actually have a little bit of wider throw, which is kind of nice. So they are kind of pointed in different directions, whereas in the Volkswagen, it's just one single lens for each. Having a look up in the windshield, you can see they got the forward-facing camera there. That's, of course, for your lane departure warning, lane keep assistance and all that. Right below that is the sensor for the auto wipers. And on the Tucson, it's exactly opposite way. Got the camera below the rain sensing wipers sensor there. We do, of course, have forward parking sensors on both vehicles. One thing that's different on the Tucson, you'll see we have the air curtain pass-through right here. That's to reduce aerodynamic drag by creating a curtain of air over the wheels. Now, speaking of the wheels, 20-inch wheels on the Tiguan, 19-inch wheels on the Tucson. So another win for the Tiguan there. Now, granted, that's arguable because some people want smaller wheels for a little bit of a softer ride, but I don't think you'd be able to tell the difference going from 19 to 20. 20s do look nicer though. They also win for their tire selection. This one has Pirelli Scorpions, I think it is. Well, actually, these are pretty good too. They're Michelin's. Yeah, so tires are, well, that's kind of subjective. All right, so I've popped both of the hoods, and I just want to quickly point out two big wins for the Volkswagen. It has power folding mirrors, which is nice, and struts to hold up the hood. The Tucson, unfortunately, does not have either of those things. There's a little tab right here you need to move over, and then you lift. Come on, there we go. and then you got to put that little peg up there. So yeah, as you can see, we got the strut there holding the hood up, which is nice. That's all automatic. However, that's where the winds stop on the Tiguan under the hood. Let me show you what I mean here. So if we have a look at the little sort of insulation on the top here, so you can see it's quite loose. I can stick my hand in there, no problem. Those clips, I don't know how long they're gonna last, but have a look at the Tucson. Very, very tight up against the hood. I know it seems minor, but we've all opened up a hood on an older vehicle and seen that insulation kind of hanging down. Furthermore, under the hood, you'll notice no covering here. This is all open. That's actually quite sharp. This is all uncovered on the Tucson, all nice and covered in plastic. Not only does it look nice, it actually reduces a little bit of road and wind noise. Next thing, right under here is your air filter. And you can see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 or 9 screws holding the cap on the air filter, and they're Torx bit screws as well, which is kind of annoying. So changing the air filter on this vehicle, kind of a pain in the butt. How about on this one? Right here, 1, 2, 3, that's it. 3 clips, they just pop off like that. Super simple, and then you got the air filter out. So easy maintenance there. Huge 70 amp hour battery. That's your typical lead acid battery for starting the vehicle. On this particular Tucson, there is a lead acid battery in the back. However, one big win for the Tucson regular hybrid is it does not actually have a lead acid battery. It just uses the regular hybrid battery for all of the 12 volt accessories. So if you killed the battery, you basically just hit a button, it resets. Whereas this one, you would still need to jump start. So big win for the Tucson there as well. Now, as I mentioned before, this 4-cylinder engine makes 184 horsepower. It's a 2-liter 4-cylinder dual injection system. Whereas on the Tucson hybrids, it's and keep in mind, all of the top trim level Tucsons are hybrids. This is actually a 1.6 liter turbocharged mated to an electric motor. So this particular one, about 265 horsepower if I remember correctly, and then the regular hybrid, about 228 horsepower. So in both trims, in both versions of the Tucson Ultimate, more horsepower than the Tiguan. All right, let's have a quick look at the key fobs for both vehicles. So this one here is for the Tucson, and as you can see, it's got a lot of buttons on it. It does, of course, have remote start, so I can lock the doors, hold the remote start button, and boom, there it's remote started. Now, somebody's parked right behind us here, so I'm gonna wanna move these cars forward a bit. On the Tucson, it's really, really easy. All I gotta do is hold down this button right here, and there we go, the car is moving forwards. Now, of course, I can go backwards as well. The forward and reverse parking sensors will basically stop the vehicle from moving if it detects something in either direction. On the Tiguan, let's have a look at the key fob here. So we have remote start as well. So I'll hit this button twice. Let's try that again. Interesting. So the remote start's not working on the Tiguan. I suspect it's probably because it's a little bit low on fuel, which is bizarre. I guess, yeah, weird. The key does feel a little bit cheap on the Tiguan. However, I will say this, the key on the Tucson, while it was really nice for 2024, as you just saw, the 2025 key is abysmal. All right, we're gonna go into the backs of the vehicles here. And to do that on the Tiguan, I'm either going to hold the button on the key fob here to open up the tailgate, or I'm going to press the button under the badge. I don't think it has any other way of opening. I've already tried the little kick thing, and oh, there we go. It does. Okay, so it has the little foot kick to open up the door. Pretty cool. So it has that capability. Hands-free tailgate, and yeah, it looks like I can stand under here. I've got maybe about 1 inch above my head. Let's try the Tucson real quick. Now the Tucson has something called smart tailgate, where you just stand behind the vehicle for 4 seconds and the tailgate opens up. You don't have to remember exactly where to kick. You don't have to stand on 1 foot if you've got your hands full, especially if the stuff you're carrying is heavy. That can be quite dangerous. As far as the space under here, if I stand right under the lowest part, which is about here, I think. Yeah, height is about the same. Oh, no, it's not. It actually is significantly higher. Okay, so we just gained another inch. So if you're about 6'3.5", you're gonna actually appreciate the height of the tailgate on the Tucson more. All right, let's look at the cargo area and see what that looks like in both vehicles. All right, so having a look in the back of the Tiguan, once my camera clears up a little bit here. Apologize for the sun glare, guys. It is a very bright sunny day, which is fantastic, but you know, it makes videotaping a little bit more difficult. So back here we have a 12-volt port, and we have a nice LED light to light up the area here. The floor itself is a good solid, looks like a fiberglass material. Actually, it's very similar to what we have in the Tucson, and it does have the ability to drop the floor down to a lower height, and then underneath the floor, I don't like how this is one solid piece. It's kind of annoying. We do have a cargo cover, a privacy cover, so that's kind of nice to see as well, and a spare tire in this one, and a little tiny bit of storage organization down here, not much. And you'll notice we've got those sort of deep pockets down here, and the privacy cover is secure under the floor. To fold down the rear seats, and by the way, it does have a 40-20-40 split, so definite win there for the Tiguan, because the Tucson only has a 60-40 split. To fold the seats down, you just pull these handles and then wonder why the seat's not moving. There we go. Okay, let's pull the seat handle there. There we go. All right, and they do lock in, so that's something that we don't see that often, but the fact that they lock in when they're down is really, really good. So let's do that now. All right, so there we go. It's locked into place, and to basically release that, you pull this little handle right here, and then it's a single-handed movement to put it up. So that's good to see. And the seat back is the same height as the floor, which is nice. And a little trick back here, actually, just while we're doing this, you can recline the seat. There's only one position of recline, so if I pull that same little loop there and then push the seat, there we go. So it does recline a little bit, but there's only one position. So keep that in mind. However, there's a bar right here you can use to sort of expand the rear storage space by sliding this seat forward. Sorry, it takes a little bit more effort than just a one-handed movement. There we go. So if you want, you can expand the rear storage a little tiny bit by doing that. I'll show you what that looks like now. So there's a gap there. All right, so these seats just went forward a bit. But unfortunately, even with that, there's still not as much cargo space back here as the Tucson. So let's look at the Tucson next. All right, so as I mentioned, 60-40 split back here. It doesn't have the little center pass-through. It does still have the handles to fold the seats down real quick. And you want to put the headrests down, so that actually goes down all the way. Now those do lock in and go flat as well, which I'll show you in a moment. We also have the 12-volt port here, and not an LED, but it is at least lit up back here as well. Now, this is where I appreciate the floor of the Tucson right off the bat, because it has this little split down the center. It's still a engineered product, still fiberglass or something like that, and you can also take it out and drop it down. Keep in mind, this is the plug-in hybrid version. I'm going to take out this organizer so you can see what it looks like. The benefit of having the fold, you can actually just stand that thing up while it's out of your way. All right, so I take this actually out, and what we have underneath is the 12-volt battery. Okay, so that's your 12-volt battery. That right there is just the charge controller for the high voltage battery. The high voltage battery is actually underneath the rear seats where you can't see it. Now, if this was the regular hybrid, you could see there's that little extra shelf right there. The floor can actually drop down to a lower position, so you have the same sort of capability as in the Tiguan. We also have the little storage ports on the sides, but notice how they're covered up. Those little covers actually pop right off. But the Tucson does not come with a privacy cover, so that is a win for the Tiguan. But everything else back here, I gotta say, is kind of a win for the Tucson, unless you're one of those people who absolutely has to have a spare tire. I'm getting so sick of this argument. So this comes with a tire mobility kit. It's a pump, and at worst, a pump and a sealant. Most of the time when you have a flat tire, it's going to be because of nail. The pump is going to do just fine to get you to where you need to go in order to get that tire fixed. It's a lot easier to connect the pump than it is to swap out a tire for a spare, especially if you're older or if you have trouble jacking up a vehicle. And quite frankly, I don't have any problems jacking up a vehicle, putting a tire on, but I'd much rather just connect the pump especially if I'm on the side of the freeway and it's pouring rain. So keep in mind, there are pros and cons to both, and if you really wanted to, you could add a spare tire easily enough. Of course, you can also add a pump easily enough. So I'm going to give the point to the Tiguan on this, only because it's easier to add a pump than it is to add a spare tire. But really, how many times have you actually needed a spare tire over a pump? So that's my argument on that. All right, the next thing we're going to do is check out the back seat comfort, space, and amenities. So as I mentioned, seat backs do fold pretty flat, pretty much the same height as the rear floor. Again, one-handed movement to get those raised and out of the way. All right, the next thing we're going to check out is the back seats. But before we do that, let's have a look at the back of the car. Now, looks are subjective, but I got to say, it's hard not to like these really cool taillights. They're quite distinctive, and as good as the Tiguans are, I think they're pretty standard looking. They don't really stand out. Those look super cool. It's also got the light bar going across the back as well. Again, looks is subjective, so maybe you disagree, but I really like the tail end of the Tucson. And that might also be because one of the things that really breaks up the looks of the Tiguan is this ugly window wiper. And you can see there's no window wiper in the middle of the Tucson because I actually tucked it up under here. So to keep the aesthetic of the vehicle, quite nice. Another thing, maybe you'll like dual chrome exhaust tips. Those are not exhaust tips. Those are fake. If it were me buying a car, those stupid fake exhaust tips would completely remove this as a contender. I think they're so dumb. Anyway, you got the backup sensors on both vehicles as well. As far as the rest, I mean, they're basically the same sort of idea, right? I mean, there's nothing really too special about the back ends other than that. So pretty standard, looks like everything else on the road. Definitely unique with the tail lights the way they are. The window wiper missing out of the back there. Also notice the badge is completely flush. And for 2025, they actually make that look a little bit cooler. They didn't do anything like that on the Tiguan. Camera right there, same sort of thing as the Tucson. Another thing, when you go to the gas station and you get out of the driver's seat, there's your gas door right there. When you get out of the Tiguan though, you have to walk around to the other side of the vehicle. I just find that so silly. So there's your fuel door on the passenger side. So yeah, minor gripe, but still a gripe. Okay, we're going to get into the back seat of the Tucson first, and then we'll check the other one. Okay, so first off, you'll notice seat back is very upright, right? But check this out. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I don't know. There's like 8 to 12 different positions I can put that seat in. So I can really recline that back and get very, very comfortable. Also back here, these seats are heated. Check it out. So you got 2 levels of seat heat back here. Comfortable armrest. There's a center cup holder armrest right here. It's also nice and cushioned. I have lots of room in front of me. This seat's actually currently back a bunch because when you shut the car off, it has that little valet seating thing, so it moves back. But I still have plenty of space in front of my knees. Lots of space underneath the seat to put my feet. Nice solid seat backs, and of course pouches in both of the seat backs. Little vents right here for the rear passengers, and a couple of USB-A ports. This one also has a massive panoramic sunroof. It's huge. It's very, very wide. Opens about that far, as you can see. So the Tiguan does have a panoramic sunroof as well. It's not quite as big, but it does open up a little bit more. So I'll give the point to the Tucson for the fact that it can open up more, but the point to the Tucson for having the bigger panoramic sunroof. We also have grab handles here, lights on each side as well, grab handles in all 4 corners. Let's check out the Tiguan. All right, so again, nice cushy armrest. We also have the center cup holder armrest right here. They put the cup holders in the middle though, a little different. Nice and cushy though. Let's jump in here, have a look at the space. Definitely not as wide. Now I can actually move this seat back now that I think about it. There we go. And now I've got more space. But believe it or not, the total legroom is better on the Tucson, both front and rear. But yeah, so a couple things to note. Soft seat back, so if you do have kids in the back here kicking the seat, you're going to feel it. They do both have the seat back pockets, and there's lots of space underneath the floor here as well. So I'm not going to discount this vehicle at all as far as seat comfort in the back. It's very, very comfortable. I can't really give one or the other a point here, though I will say if you do have 3 passengers in the back seats, the Tucson's probably going to be a little bit more comfortable. If you just have 2, these are a very, very comfortable seat. You can recline it a little bit. The recline handle is kind of annoying though because you have to pull that silly little tab. Whoa. But yeah, it's either straight up. I guess you can stop at a couple spots, but it's only like, I don't know, maybe four spots. It reclines about half as far. Other than that, we do, of course, have grab handles all 4 corners. There's lights back here as well. They're all LEDs and the nice panoramic sunroof. So, yeah, they're about the same as far as comfort back here, other than seat width. They are heated seats back here as well. And there is a climate control for the second row as well. So a definite win for the Tiguan. I will say this though, these touch sensitive buttons here, they're really not responsive. They're very, very slow. See that? I tap it and it takes a second. So that's kind of annoying. It does have USB-A ports and it's got the 12-volt outlet here. So yeah, I'm having a little bit of trouble deciding which one of the back seat areas I prefer, actually. This is pretty good. It's just not as wide and it doesn't recline as much. So yeah, I'd give it a tie. Let's check out the front seat. All right, first off, passenger side. So we have a power seat on this side. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-way adjustable power passenger seat. It has good bolstering on the upper part here as well as the lower part. Not quite as much bolstering as the Tiguan. However, these seats are also a bit wider. So for a longer drive, this is going to be a little bit more comfortable, especially for larger individuals. As far as amenities here go, aside from the power seat, you do have a little storage space right here. There's 2 cup holders in the middle, of course, fairly decent sized glove box, and a little pocket down here that will actually hold a bottle as well. And yeah, nice looking interior. Actually, it's very well appointed. Let's check out the Tiguan now and compare. All right, having a look at the Tiguan. So, same sort of scenario with the seat, all of the same adjustments, 8-way power adjustable seat. Now, one thing I did notice actually on this, first off, this is quite narrow, but this right here is really hard. Now, I recently set up a greenhouse for my wife. All of my muscles and all of my lower half of my body are sore. And when I got out of this vehicle, I noticed that this right here, sorry, I know I'm pointing the camera at my crotch, but but this is really hard. It's like, it feels like a bar. It's super, super hard. So if you're an older individual and getting in and out of the vehicle is difficult, maybe you have some mobility issues, that is super uncomfortable. So that is one thing I noticed right away when I got out of the Tiguan. This right here, super uncomfortable to put your leg on. As far as amenities in here, aside from the seat, we have a little pocket right here. And I would say definitely a larger compartment here, and it is felt lined as well, so that's quite smart. Weirdly though, they didn't line the inside of the door with felt. It's just the outer bits here. Other than that, yeah, nice looking interior, a little bit of faux wood. Nothing too special here. Oh, one thing I forgot to point out. On the rear seat belts in the Tucson, there's actually little pockets to store the seat belt so that it's not banging around while you're driving. That's something the Tiguan unfortunately does not have. Here's what I mean. So basically you can put the seat belt right in there, kind of stores it out of the way for when you're folding the seats down and whatnot, and it also isn't going to be rattling around. Okay, let's check out the driver's seat. So first off, driver's seat on the Tucson, we have the 8+2, so 10-way adjustable power driver's seat. Lots of manipulation on the seats there. Let's have a look at the Tiguan. All right, so the Tiguan looks like it has more buttons, but it doesn't. So we have the lower back support right here and same movement for the seat. This is just the memory seating. I will say though, it has 1 extra position. So the Tucson has 2 memory seat buttons. They're actually up on the door, which I'll show you in a moment. This one has 3. All right, so I'm sitting here in the Tucson, and you can see I've got tons of headroom. That's about maybe 3.5, 4 inches of headroom. Legroom is significant. So check this out. I can't actually touch the floor here with my foot. It's that far away. Even the dead pedal is far enough away that I'm not touching it. So I would definitely need to move the seat forward in order to be comfortable here. I can't drive like this. And the seat currently is all the way down. It's in its lowest position, so that's what, you know, you can see just how much headroom you have. Very, very comfortable seats. Some of the best seats that Hyundai makes. And that's another thing I want to point out. Hyundai is a very vertically integrated company. They make their own seats. Not every company does that. They also make their own steel. So there's a lot of advanced high-strength steel construction in this vehicle. Actually, about twice as much advanced high-strength steel as in the Tiguan. So keep that in mind. That helps for torsional rigidity, but also helps for accident safety. And it helps for long-term squeaks, creaks, rattles, and such. It's going to be reduced because of the fact that they're using so much advanced high-strength steel, which doesn't really bend as easily as regular mild steel. They also use a lot of structural adhesive in their vehicles as well, usually about 5 to 10 times as much as the competition. Now, Volkswagen, honestly, I'm not too sure how much they use. They don't really advertise it at all, so I have no idea, but Hyundai uses a lot, and a lot more than most companies. As I mentioned, we have the memory seat buttons over here on the door. But that's also integrated into the user profile. So you can have multiple user profiles on this vehicle. When you get in, you choose your profile. It customizes your ambient lighting. It customizes your climate control settings, your presets on your radio, your instrument cluster brightness, as well as your seating position and mirror position. One place the Tiguan does win, the Volkswagen, is on the window switches. This has auto up and down in the front, but not on the rear. The Tiguan has it on all 4 windows, so that's kind of nice on that one. Now, both vehicles have tilt and telescopic steering, so we're not really going to get into that at all. As far as storage options go, the Tiguan does have larger door pockets. The Tucson, though, has a much bigger center console storage. It's way bigger, and the glove box, I'd say, is a tiny bit bigger as well. We also have a little spot right here that you can put stuff. There's your wireless charger in there. It's a 15-watt wireless charger. Very, very quick. We also have up here a 12-volt out and 2 USB ports. And that's pretty much it for storage locations. So let's check the Tiguan out. All right, so sitting in the Volkswagen now. So yeah, a little bit less room. I wouldn't say it's significant, but I mean, if you're 6'5" or something like that, you're going to appreciate the headroom in the Tucson. As far as the legroom goes, again, very, very close. I can touch the dead pedal here. By the way, the pedals in this one definitely nicer than the Tucson, so I'll win there. But yeah, just as far as legroom and space and whatnot, this one definitely not quite as good as the Tucson, but it's very, very close. I would say it's kind of an insignificant difference. As far as seat comfort goes, these are pretty comfortable seats. I don't know how they are on a long trip. I know the Tucsons are fantastic for long trips. This feels pretty good. I got good support kind of everywhere. I love the leather and the white piping. It looks really, really nice. Guys, this is a nice car. There's no question about it. Check this out, though. As far as the center storage, doesn't have a button. I guess it just lifts. But yeah, look at how small that is. So that is tiny in comparison to the Tucson. Big door pockets. It has the wireless charger here, but no additional storage. If you're charging a phone there, you can't really store anything else there. There's a little spot right here, and then yeah, the glove box is kind of small. So the win for the storage definitely goes to the Tucson. As far as the ports, though, we have another 12-volt outlet here, and then 2 USB-C ports there. So connectivity, I've got to give it to the Volkswagen as far as how the phones connect, until you get into the sort of the Bluetooth and whatnot, and we're going to talk about the screens next here. But yeah, let's fire up the Tiguan first, and then we'll jump in the Tucson and have a look at some of the connectivity and features inside the vehicle. All right, so having a quick general look at the dashboard layout. First thing I want to point out, this instrument cluster is super cool. I would say that this wins over the Tucsons because of the fact that it has the map right in the screen there. That is really, really neat. What it definitely does not win on, though, is the infotainment system. This is a tiny screen in comparison to what you find in the Tucson. Across looks like 8 inches. The screen in the Tucson is 10. It's also a widescreen and, quite frankly, a better layout. This one does have built-in navigation, but the actual functionality of it is a little bit tricky. It's just not spectacular. I'm not going to go into the infotainment system here because otherwise this video would just get way too long. But just know it's just kind of okay. Everything works. It's fairly snappy. It does, of course, have Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, Apparently the previous owner's name was Brian. So, you know, it has that functionality, but it's just a small screen and it's just not very well laid out. And I'm not the only reviewer that thinks that, but you know, they could definitely do things better with their infotainment system. As far as their climate controls, again, everything here is touch sensitive, similar to the Tucson. It has these little slider things. That's kind of neat. We have heated seats. We have ventilated seats, of course. I turn that on, actually. You can control the fan speed with a little slider here. So climate control is perfectly fine. It functions. One thing that's major disappointment is the heated steering wheel. It appears to heat the top and the bottom of the wheel, but not the grips, which makes no sense. I'm going to try it again here. I just turned it on, and we'll see how it goes. Big, you know, plus to the Tucson over this vehicle is that these buttons are really annoying to use. There's very little haptic feedback on them. I mean, it has haptic feedback, but it seems like you have to press it really, really hard for it to actually work. And just kind of tapping it barely does anything. I do not like these buttons. They're terrible. Don't believe me? Go try it on your own. You'll see what I'm talking about. They're just not very well done. As far as the voice recognition, open the lift gate.
Please repeat.
Open the tailgate.
You can always say, navigate to, followed by a city, street and house number. You can also say, call, followed by a contact. For more information, say, help.
Help.
You can also say, station, followed by a radio station, or track, followed by a track. For more information.
Okay. Nope.
Pardon?
We're just going to cut that off. All right, so it looks like you have navigation controls, audio controls, that sort of thing. I don't know that it has anything else as far as, you know, controlling the vehicle. Maybe try setting the temperature. Set driver's temperature to 23 degrees. It takes a really long time.
Control functions cannot be controlled by voice operation.
Oh, well, I guess there's your answer. So, no climate control options on this vehicle through voice. And another thing I want to point out with the steering wheel buttons is that they're a little bit confusing. So, right here you have buttons to actually go through the menus on this screen. You can see there's a bunch of different menus coming up in the center there. Yeah, the steering wheel heat is terrible. So this right here, not warm. This, warm. This, warm. It's not even that warm, to be honest. This right here, not really warm. I don't know where they're actually warming up. It seems like it's warm here, but not here. Yeah, bizarre. But anyway, as I was saying, these steering wheel buttons are kind of silly the way that they're laid out, because you have a bunch of cruise control buttons right here, and then right underneath that you have your volume control. Like they're mixing buttons up. So there's a bunch of functions here for that screen. There's your next and previous station and track right here, volume right here, voice recognition up here. It's a little bit kind of all over the place. They didn't really kind of segment anything. And that can be really confusing for anybody new to this vehicle. All right, another huge failure, in my opinion, of the Tiguan is something I want to show you real quick here. So we have this sun visor on the driver's side. You can slide it out and whatnot. It's got a little mirror. Light comes on when you open up the mirror. This is the passenger side. Check this out. It does not slide out. Like, come on, guys. Like, saving money in the dumbest places. So that's kind of silly. Other than that, perfectly acceptable interior. Like I said, it's comfortable. It looks decent. The technology is just not there. I'm not seeing a lot of, innovative tech. We have, different drive modes here. That's kind of nice. And when you change the drive mode, you can see we have, there's a custom, there's sort of an off-road thing. There's a snow mode. So yeah, it's got some features. No denying that. But for this price point, the old-fashioned shifter, which some people prefer, I think it's silly. The quality of the infotainment system, which is quite small, the quality of the cameras and whatnot. Just move back a little bit so we don't have the beeping. We do have a 360 camera system here, but it's all really, really tiny. Like this 360 camera system is almost unusable. Look at the painted parking lines there. They're just kind of jagged. So it's just not a spectacular camera system. There's the 3D parking system, or the 360 camera system, full screen now. So that's kind of nice that you can do that. But now the car is sideways, so this would feel weird because, you know, you would want the car kind of this way. It's hard to explain what I mean, but I do like their dynamic steering lines. Oh, that's really cool. I wish ours was that cool. I'm going to show you ours as well, but there's some definite advantages to that, but some definite disadvantages. We also have this view here. Let's see here. So we got multiple different views. So that's kind of cool. So you got that 3-dimensional view. Now on the 25 Tucson, you get something similar to that, but this is really, yeah, it's not very well implemented. It's kind of like they just said, we want to have all of these camera views, but look at how confusing it all looks. All right, we're going to jump in the Tucson and see what that camera system looks like, and then we'll move on to the rest of the stuff in the Tucson. All right, so because the camera system is sort of fresh in our minds here, let's have a look at the one in the Tucson. So first off, really, really, really high quality camera and screens, nice dynamic steering lines. I would say the dynamic steering line thing on the Tiguan was actually better, but at least we do have, you know, the throw of the front of the vehicle. But check out the quality difference here. It definitely looks a little bit better. We have the ability to zoom in and out of the 360 camera system. The 360 camera system is stitched together a little bit nicer. And then the rear view camera section here, I can have a couple of different views there as well. I really like this one because if we're in drive, let me just switch to drive here. Now I can actually see exactly where the front wheels are going to go on both sides. So that's a really, really handy view. Now, as far as that is concerned, I will say this, as good as that is, it actually gets significantly better in the 2025 model. So keep in mind, this is, you know, pretty good, but it can actually get better. Okay, so we were talking about some of the other technology in the Tiguan. And I think I mentioned this shifter in the Tiguan. This one actually has a push-button transmission fly-by-wire, which is definitely the nicer way to go. Now, in the 2025 is a little console thing right here. You spin, but it's kind of the same idea. The benefits therein, if you're in drive and you forget to put it into park, you shut the car off, quickly goes into park. Or if you come to a stop, pull off your seatbelt, and open the door, it also quickly puts it into park. You can't do that with a physical shifter, so that's one place where, you know, the Tucson definitely wins between the two. Now, like the Tiguan, we have ventilated and heated seats on both sides. Nice physical buttons to press here. Heated steering wheel, and the other nice thing is that this steering wheel is completely heated all the way around the whole thing. Steering wheel feel on both vehicles is pretty good. I do prefer the perforated grips on the Volkswagen Tiguan, but this is still pretty nice. We got paddle shifters on the back of the Tucson, which you won't see in the Tiguan. And all of these buttons right here are for this. So there's very little confusion between the buttons on the steering wheel. And check this out. Open the lift gate.
Opening the lift gate.
And there we go. It's opening up. Pretty cool, right? Set the temperature to 20 degrees.
Setting the temperature to
Boom.
20 degrees.
So we can also control the climate system. Now, there's other things that you can control, and that's all, you know, stuff you can find in here, which is pretty cool. So we got vehicle control. We have different controls for navigation, radio, Bluetooth. We can search for different things within the voice recognition as well. All very nice. So as for the climate control, a couple of wins here. We have 3 levels of automatic climate control. So it isn't just either auto or not auto. You can actually raise and lower the aggressiveness of the climate control system. We have the ability to actually have it automatically recirculate the air when you drive through a tunnel or when you use the windshield washer fluid. That's, again, another sort of a Hyundai thing. So that's pretty nice. Built-in navigation on this nice 10-inch screen, and it works spectacularly well. With the Volkswagen, I tried to find the map, and I couldn't find it. Like, that's how weird the Volkswagen navigation system is. Here, you just press map, and it brings up the map. So, not saying the Volkswagen one is bad once you're used to it, but, you should be able to just jump in a car and figure that out really quickly. Another huge feature of the Tucson over the Volkswagen. So we have a beautiful 10-inch instrument cluster display here. We don't have the nav system on here. That's a downside. We do have turn-by-turn directions, though, if you want, right in the middle here. But check this out. If I put the signal on, it shows me a view down the left side of the vehicle, and it shows me a view down the right side of the vehicle if I do that. So big win to Tucson for the blind view monitor. That's a pretty awesome feature. I think I'm going to leave the comparison at that point, guys. If you want to learn more about the Tucson, please check out my video that I've recently done on the 2025 Tucson Ultimate. I think you'd be blown away by just the amount of features that you get for basically less than you'd pay for a Tiguan. The Tucson did go through a fairly decent change. They changed the interior layout and changed the front end a bit, changed some of the features on the stereo and stuff like that. As a matter of fact, it has two 12-inch screens now versus two 10-inch screens. So the screens are even bigger in the 2025 than they were in the 2024. But I wanted to compare the 24 Tiguan with the 24 Tucson. It just made sense to compare them apples to apples. Price-wise, you know, the Tucson is less expensive, gives you more horsepower, gives you more technology, a better camera system, a nicer automatic tailgate, bigger panoramic sunroof, you know, a little easier to use system, especially when you look at the buttons on the steering wheel, etc. The Tiguan is a very, very good vehicle. I have nothing against it other than the price. If it were less than the Tucson, I could see, you know, I could make up some of those differences within the price. But the fact is that Tucson is cheaper, has a better warranty in Canada, has longer telematics system, you know, being able to remote start your car, unlock the doors, lock the doors, start the car with the ventilated seats on, all of that stuff, all from your cell phone. You get that all free for 3 years, which is like the longest in the industry. So that's pretty cool. You just get more for your money in the Hyundai. As far as reliability goes, say what you want. Hyundai is actually higher on the overall reliability studies by J.D. Power Associates right now. So they're higher. As a matter of fact, if you just search for Tucson reliability versus Tiguan reliability, you'll find that the Tucson also slightly edges out the Tiguan. When it comes to maintenance, the Tucson's also going to be significantly less expensive to maintain. Volkswagens are not cheap to maintain. That's a known thing in the industry. So there's some definite wins there. If you're the type of person that absolutely must have a German vehicle, okay. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Comment below if you disagree. And comment below if you'd like to see more comparisons like this. I try to do them every time I get a newer vehicle in stock that I can actually do a comparison with. But yeah, hopefully this helped you out in some way. If you want to know more about the Tucson, again, don't forget to check my channel for the 2024 and 2025 Tucson Ultimate full video reviews. And guys, don't forget to check the description for links to different providers of things that you can buy with my discount code. So I have a discount code. It's Ed's Garage. That'll work at A2Z.com. It'll work at linkifun.com. It'll work at bodega.com. It'll work at AMZ Chef. It'll work at Wheelhaven. So if you're looking for wheels and tires, etc. So check the links in the description below because I've got a lot of savings there for you. If you're looking for tires, wheels, camping equipment, EV charging equipment, EV Vita, they have a bunch of accessories for electric vehicles. Some good links there to check out. But again, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, have a great day. Stay safe.